Hey, y'all. Remember back in 2020 when they said it was just 2 weeks to flatten the curve? Yeah. Now the curve isn't a virus chart, it's a tree line, and they're locking that down too. This month, Nova Scotia banned hiking, camping, fishing, hunting, ATV riding, basically any human being setting foot in the woods until October. If you break the rules, you're looking at fines of up to $25,000. And they say it's all for your safety, to prevent wildfires. But here's the kicker. At the exact same time, they've lifted a 15-year ban on uranium exploration. And guess where those minerals are? Deep in the same forest you're suddenly not allowed to set foot in. So let me get this straight. Families can't walk on a trail, but corporations can dig up the very ground for profit. We saw this blueprint during COVID. Declare an emergency, restrict movement, fine anyone who doesn't comply, and call it temporary. But temporary powers have a funny way of sticking around. And now they've just swapped out the pandemic for a climate crisis. Same fear tactics, same emergency orders, same conditioning that tells you your freedom of movement is negotiable. So today, we're going to talk about how this shift from pandemic to climate emergency is the next stage in permanent control, and why the Nova Scotia situation should be a wake-up call for every single Canadian. Welcome back to the Black Sheep Podcast.
Ooh, I feel like we need some music right now. Just like, let that soak in.
Right?
It's wild what's happening.
It's just this playbook that they keep shifting. So they'll call it COVID today, they'll call it climate crisis tomorrow. And I fear that there's more coming down the pike.
I think it's just constant. There has been a constant onslaught of fear tactics, different means of trying to gain more control out of fear of, we're going to help you, we're going to protect you, this is for your safety. I think if Canadians read that and weren't alarmed by the lack of restriction for their own freedom to move, they should be pretty concerned.
Yeah, I think that it's a blueprint and COVID was the test run. Okay, so here's how it worked. Emergency powers, movement restrictions, massive fines, social pressure, and fear campaigns. It's the same playbook. And the only good thing I see is that there's this many more Canadians that seem to be aware of it, but I still see a large number of people on social media reposting these government threads on the climate crisis and the wildfires, and not enough people are recognizing the pattern. So the same playbook is being applied to climate: restrict movement, claim it's temporary, and use safety and fear to justify.
It's the same playbook in the sense that it's a gradual taking of your rights. It's a gradual, what was that word David Icke used? I love that word.
Oh gosh. I'm going to have to come back to that one.
Yeah. Where they gradually keep pushing the boundary until eventually people go, whoa, I'm done. Whoa, that's not okay. And then they pull back a little bit. Mm-hmm. But if you look at how far they've moved the goalpost in that time, they've now restricted your mobility even more. And you've adapted to it, and that's what you've now allowed in.
Absolutely. And again, I think the most troubling part is just that not enough people are recognizing that. The people are still reposting these ridiculous, absurd clips from broadcasters and government officials without scrutinizing the implications of what's happening. They're still not able to think for themselves about it. They're still believing the rhetoric. They don't see the playbook. They don't see that it's literally the same thing, just a different topic.
So my social media, I'd honestly didn't know any of this. I saw that the headline around like Nova Scotia stuff, and then that was really shocking. So it should be shocking. And then I didn't know why until somebody said, "Well, it's to prevent forest fires." That doesn't make sense. Let's have some common sense here.
When was the last time a hiker, like really? Now, by the way, before I get into that, let me just say this quickly. This veteran in Nova Scotia just got a $28,000 fine. First one. He did it on purpose. He purposely went in. He knew what he was getting himself into. And God love him for doing that. That is a real man right there. Mm-hmm. Okay. But in, maybe you could look this up, Alora, in Alberta, I think there was a forestry guy, something like you did, like a forest firefighter guy who just was charged with 30 counts of arson, setting deliberate fires, and he got probation. This just happened this week. So
the criminal...
So if you don't mind, in a news release issued Friday, the RCMP said Audrey Elaine Dunham has been charged with 32 counts of arson following an in-depth investigation into a series of suspicious wildfires in the Bonnyville and Lac de Bonny in Manitoba? Yeah. That's where my brother's cabin was. That's so weird. Anyway, so it was in Manitoba. Okay, so this guy is getting probation, and so 30 counts, but he's going to get probation, and they just fined a veteran $28,000 plus for going for a hike. He didn't set a fire. He went for a hike. Okay, so the Nova Scotia case. Let's just get into this a little bit deeper. So on August 5th, province bans hiking, fishing, hunting, ATV use on most Crown land until October 15th or longer. It's open-ended. Fines of up to $25,000, which we now know.
Flatten the curve.
Right?
2 weeks.
Yep, exactly. Mm-hmm. Another timeline. It applies to, this is the best. You're gonna die. You're gonna lose your shit. It applies to Crown land plus impacts forested private property.
No.
You can use it yourself, but not allow others. So we have a little forest, so we can go walking in the forest, but Alora is not allowed. You're not allowed to come into our forest. And the reasons they were given? To prevent wildfires. So meanwhile, ban on uranium exploration in place since 2009 is lifted. Push for critical minerals exploration in all forested areas. Government pushing industry access while restricting public access. So government industry / corporations are allowed to access while public access is restricted.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
So what's the uranium for?
Well, I mean, all of our green energy, look it up. What's uranium? I mean, I know that there's more than just uranium, but that's the ban that they lifted.
Because you don't hear about that.
No. But that's the thing. We have a ton of uranium in this country, which is obviously very valuable.
Yeah.
And I'm not against us using our natural resources for profit as long as Canadians are benefiting. Corporations, it's incredible. Uranium is primarily used for fuel in nuclear reactors to generate electricity. It can also be used for medical and industrial purposes, and historically for coloring ceramic glazes and in photography. In addition, depleted uranium has applications in armor plating. Oh.
Military.
Armor plating. Okay. That makes sense to me. And is used as a ballast in aircraft and ships.
So military
and nuclear. Now, again, I am all for nuclear.
Yeah.
I think nuclear power is the way to go. If you actually do your research, nuclear is the most safe, effective, cost-effective, fantastic. I just can't help but wonder why they would make it illegal for you and me to hike in a forest, but having huge amounts of machinery in those very same forests using gas, all kinds of combustion engines, which would obviously be way more of a threat to the possibility of a fire than hiking would be. I mean, I even know, like, when I used to smoke cigarettes, and I mean, I smoke joints. If I was in a forest smoking a joint, which I have been known to do, most people carry tins. If you're a foresty person, if you're an outdoorsman, these hunters, these fishermen, they are very, very, very careful. And they're very respectful. And they all carry little Altoids tins. And when they finish their cigarette, they put the butt in the tin. They will not litter a cigarette butt.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, I feel as though the risk is very minimal. I mean, when was the last time you ever heard of a guy going hiking and starting a fire if he didn't deliberately set it?
So their reasoning for doing this is to prevent forest fires by the individuals that they say that are starting it. So they're just going to put this ban across everybody and block everybody's mobility.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
And in BC,
that doesn't make sense.
They've also started in BC. Okay. This is something I heard today. You can check it. I'm not sure 100%, but from what I heard this morning, get this. In BC, whether it's the whole province wide or in a specific area, you can canoe on the lake, you cannot kayak, and you cannot paddleboard.
Why?
No, you heard me. You can canoe, but you can't paddleboard and you can't kayak.
Why?
I'm assuming, like, I'm going to be a racist here for saying this, but it has to have something to do with natives and the canoe. Like, you understand?
Oh.
That's where my mind went, was like, well, we can't tell people you can't canoe because it's a native way of transportation. And it's their way of living.
Was that the region that they banned that? Is that like near a reserve? I
have no idea. It just was something that I came across today, and I didn't have very much time to get into it further. But it's pattern recognition. So it's COVID, it's climate, future emergencies, conditioning makes people accept restricted freedom as normal for the greater good. Wow. I mean, I recognize that. Global alignment, UN, WEF, climate targets, 15-minute city, land use laws.
Land use laws.
Land use laws. We can get into that because that's kind of coming up our alley. A shift in the narrative in 2020, stay at home, save lives. 2025, stay out of nature, save the planet. Right? But so land use laws. So my concern with in particular where we are is we've got a very woke, we live in a very conservative community, but our mayor happens to be very woke, okay? And my biggest concern is if they restrict the use of A2, which is agriculture. So where they would say, what is stopping them from saying right now? If they're already saying, by the way, you have a private forest, you can't go in it. By the way, you have crown land that we're all entitled to. As a Canadian citizen, crown land is my fucking land. Not your fucking land. Yeah. It's my fucking land. And you're telling me that I can't go on crown land, which is my birthright? I have a feeling, you have property that's A2? Not anymore. Your cows must go. Your chickens must go, all for the greater good of saving the environment. That's what I see. This is just lockstep. It's just, we just have to go slowly but surely. And you know, it's funny.
Well, when they go slow, people don't see it as obviously then.
100%. Right? And it's funny because it seems like it's this every 5 year. So COVID was 2020. Now we're in 2025. Okay, so this is going to go on for another 18 months or so. And then 2030 is really going to be the push for 15-minute cities. And you know, the funny thing is about this is I did share a post today, maybe you saw it, about someone had written something that I found very interesting. You've seen Dubai, what Dubai looks like these days. It's in the middle of a fucking desert, but they have water, lakes, man-made, everything's man-made.
Cloud seeding.
Beautiful agriculture, horticulture, all kinds of stuff going on. How do they get that?
Cloud seeding.
It's
artificial weather.
So we have the capabilities in this country to create rainfall, should we need it, By the way, this is
That's
something...
a really good point.
Right? By the way, this is something that in the 1800s was done. In the 1800s, there was a fellow in San Francisco that had figured out the chemistry. He just had to have a structure built that was high enough for him to get up, okay? And then he can mix these chemicals and poof, it creates a rain cloud. That's in the 1800s. We all know that we have the capabilities to change the weather, modify the weather. We know that the government's doing that right now. Why in the fuck is our government not spending money creating weather modification, which I'm sure that they already are, but not for the positive, for the negative? And why wouldn't they be cloud seeding over top of these areas where the wildfires are burning? We could put out the fucking fires with our own...
They cloud seed all the time. We see it all the time.
We see it all the time. To start the fire, to ignite the fire. I understand that. But my point is, we can solve that problem by investing money in planes that can create these reactions in the atmosphere. But yet, we spend our money on fighting wars that have absolutely nothing to do with us and our country. Mm-hmm. Sending billions and billions of dollars to other places for other causes. Yep. Bringing in millions of immigrants that we can't afford to house, we don't have the health care for, we don't have the workforce for. Instead, they could easily have that money invested in our environment, in creating these kind of systems, but they'll lock us down instead. So this is never about environmental safety. This is always about restriction of movement.
This is all about control.
And all about control.
Yeah.
So who benefits from all of this?
Wait. It's the same concept of environmentalism wanting environmental. Sorry. Us shifting how we live and doing regenerative farming practices is how we are creating solutions for environmental issues. Yeah. Versus the climate alarmists are, the social activism issue is creating fights and wars and causing issues with people and not seeking active solutions. And this issue with the government wanting more control and more creating more restrictions rather than building better solutions.
Absolutely. Well said.
Cloud seeding makes a lot of sense for this situation.
Right.
But my pondering is why this is my conspiracy thing, mine around the fires though. Okay. Because I think that they create, the playbook is you create a problem, you offer the solution. Reaction. Solution.
Problem, reaction, solution.
So they create the problem, they get a reaction from people, and then they give you the solution.
So what Alora was just showing me was the premier of Nova Scotia did a press conference, and she actually admitted that, yes, the risk of you going into a forest and hiking and creating a fire is low. However, if you go in and break your leg, we won't have the ability to come in and rescue you because all of our resources, ambulance attendants apparently, are going to be fighting forest fires. That's literally what she said. That's verbatim what she said. Yeah. She literally said, we won't be able to come and get you. If you hurt yourself, we won't be able to come and get you. And as two people who have spent a lot of time in the bush, how many times have you encountered someone in a bush in the middle of nowhere calling a fucking ambulance? Tell me. Never.
You don't do that.
Never.
You just don't do that.
I mean, an airlift in a very fucking crazy situation may happen, but that's not even a thing. That's why we take all these courses to learn how to make splints out of sticks. Navigation. I mean,
survival skills.
Exactly. I mean, it's just absurd. But anyways, the real question is who's benefiting from this, okay? So resource companies with mining rights. I mean, since they just lifted that uranium ban, that makes sense to me. Governments meeting green targets while still exploiting land. By the way, do the natives still have water? Oh, they don't. Okay. Just checking. Who loses? Citizens, small tourism operations, outdoor enthusiasts, Nova Scotia, the Cabot Trail.
Yeah.
Okay? This is all Nova Scotia has. Nobody gives a fuck about Nova Scotia. Nobody goes to Nova Scotia for anything other than to explore Oak Island, the Cabot Trail, to see the Bay of Fundy. I mean, is that in New Brunswick? But either way, I mean, that's what you're going to Nova Scotia for. You are going for the wildlife, for the fishing, the tourism. That's why you go to Nova Scotia. You've now handcuffed hundreds of thousands of small businesses.
That's absolutely right.
In the peak of tourism season.
Right. So destroying the economy.
It's not about safety. It's about control over land access and ownership.
So, and that impacts the small businesses just like COVID did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Emergencies have become the fastest way to bypass democracy. Right? And the public keeps letting it happen.
Because it's now normal. It's normalized. That's okay.
In Nova Scotia, a family can't hike a forest trail, but a mining company can dig it up. That's not about safety. That's about control.
Money.
That's
money.
it.
Yeah.
The pandemic was just a pilot project. The climate crisis is in full season. It really is. I mean, this is...
They've been pushing the climate. I mean, it was global warming.
Yeah.
It was something else before that.
Global cooling.
Global cooling.
So my dad was recently here. My dad was recently here for his, visit. He comes, in the spring, summer, and fall. He comes for several days at a time to help with the garden and planting and other things. And we were discussing the weather, and my dad said, this climate change, it's 38, it's going to be high of 38 with the humidex today. And I said, well, Dad, I'm sure that the temperature actually hasn't changed very much at all since you arrived in Canada in 1955. And he said, oh no, that's bullshit. It's way hotter now. I said, okay. So I pulled up weather and I analyzed it, and we went all through from 1955 until the present day. Do you want to know the hottest recorded temperature in 1955 in Southern Ontario? 39 degrees. So I'd love to know how in the world you're telling me that the climate's getting hotter when the temperatures are in fact the same that they were. The only difference is on the Weather Channel 10 years ago when they showed you the map, when you look at the overall map of the country, it would have been like a green background and it was like, these are the temperatures. Now it's fucking orange and yellow and red. Used to be green and blue and happy. And now they're just scaring you with the colors. It's just all about the colors. The temperatures are not changing. They're fluctuating. That's what climate does. We've already talked about this. On a previous episode, the climates are always changing. That's why they can't predict the weather. This was a funny one too. My dad said, my dad mentioned that they can't predict the weather. Like he said, oh, fucking weather guys, they never get the fucking weather right. And I said, but Dad, isn't that funny? Because you just told me that in 50 years, the world's going to be on fire and it's going to be all over. How can they predict what's going to happen in 50 fucking years when I didn't know it was going to fucking rain 74 millimeters an hour ago? Literally. It said no rain today. It's just pure insanity. It's pure insanity.
It's programming. It's fucking wild. Yeah.
It's fucking wild. So, I mean, I just wonder how long it's going to be before we're actually locked down. Like we're being restricted right now. They're being restricted right now. But I wonder how long it's going to be till it's like a COVID restriction where you're like across Canada and literally no movement. Well, you remember COVID 2020 was bad. 2021 was worse. You remember? Things got worse before they got better. So I can only imagine that this is just...
It kept getting worse.
Right. So this is just a little taste. They're giving you a little taste, a little introduction. Oh, we don't want you to go in the forest right now.
They're acquiescing.
Acquiescing. Thank you. That is exactly it.
Yeah.
And then next summer.
They just a little bit. We're just going to take a little bit. We're going to push a little bit
and
further.
People are acquiescing to it, and that's the fucking problem.
And they're allowing it.
And that's the problem. Because if every single person in Nova Scotia right now who's an avid hiker and fisherman, people that go in and walk their dogs every day, if every single person just did it, they would not have the resources to be able to touch them. They really wouldn't.
No.
They just don't have the resources. It was just like COVID. Mm-hmm. The roads are not closed, and you shouldn't be going anywhere. But were the cops really pulling you over if you were driving, if you went somewhere? No.
But what stopped people?
Being afraid.
Fear.
Fear.
Fear inhibits people.
If they can control where you go, they can control what you see, what you eat, and eventually how you live.
And then get you to call on your neighbor.
Absolutely.
The hotlines.
So they have a snitch line in Nova Scotia, by the way.
They do.
For
this.
Oh, yeah. They've set it up. Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you what, when we lived at our old house during COVID, we had a new neighbor move in, and I was just an angry animal at that time, which I still am, but I was more so. I walked up to him and I said, "Hello, I'm Jessica. I live here." And he was like, "Oh, hi." And I said, "I just want to tell you one thing." And he goes, "Yeah, okay." And I said, "Don't forget, snitches get stitches." And he just kind of looked at me, and I was like, "Have a good one." Like,
She did do that.
Kill you. I will fucking kill you. What I do in the privacy of my own fucking home is my fucking business. Stay the fuck out of my business. It's absurd. It's absurd.
Well, the same playbook is to get us to turn on each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And it worked.
Instead of to look at what the actual issue is at hand.
But you know what? Here's the thing. You're right. And it's the same thing. The people that are going to allow it to happen are the vaccinated, the maskers, and the people that are going to fight it and not obey are the anti-maskers and the anti-vaxxers. We're the same two groups of people. And we were just starting to get along again. We were just starting to put our differences behind us. And now it's just divide and conquer all over again. This could be North America's first climate lockdown, I think, right? I think it's safe to say that this could be the very first one. Yeah. Do you agree?
You know, I don't think about those things. I focus on a lot of other different things, but it's good to have this as part of our discussion because it's no different than what we already experienced with COVID. So there is the reality of they will be pushing that. Just like how we said, no, they won't be doing lockdowns. And they did lockdowns. They did several of them. Yeah. And we got used to them. People got used to them and developed their lives because we are adaptable creatures. Mm-hmm. We developed our lives around lockdowns, right? Everybody had different lockdown stories about different things that they would do or create. So the same possible thing could happen.
Yeah. Like how we had this thing called happy hour during lockdown where our neighbors and us would meet at our green box, the big power box. We would meet at the green box on our front lawn for drinks. Like
every day at 5.
Every day at 5. Like, so again, so unhealthy.
So unhealthy. Let's just drink. Mm-hmm. Let's have a couple drinks while I smoked a couple joints. But what happened over the time? Do you remember that? As more restrictions came in and more fear was pushed and more division started to happen with the vaccines, people stopped coming out.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. Especially once I started to get more vocal. No, it's true. Once I started to get more vocal and express my distaste and dislike and the truth of what the situation was, the scared neighbors stopped coming.
Because they didn't want to hear it.
They just wanted to pretend it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And pretend.
I don't hear it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be the same kind of thing then, is who will be able to tolerate the truth? Who will be curious enough to look at the information truly without seeing it through the programming? Who will wake up out of the illusion, out of the matrix, to see what this is truly about? you have to have courage and you have to have curiosity to be able to come out of that.
There are more. I mean, look, I already know for a fact that there's so many more people that are awake than there were in 2020. I mean, the conservative numbers of the election really showed that. So that's the good news, is that a lot more people have been woke the fuck up. And we just have to hope that people will not allow their freedoms to be restricted again, and they will not comply. I think that's the biggest lesson from the last lockdown, is do not comply.
Right.
Do not let fear and irrational thinking take over your common sense. If we can have people realize, and you know what, actually something else that I found interesting about that is, this is interesting. What did we do during COVID? What was our lifeline? Do you remember what we did during COVID that was every day, something that we did that was our lifeline? Where'd we go?
To the woods.
Where did everybody go?
To the woods.
Everybody went to the fucking
Everybody
woods.
started walking on trails. The trails got flooded with people. Everybody started going outside, riding bikes. Everybody became active outside.
People got active outside. So is that part of this? Is restricting access to the woods so that when the real climate lockdowns happen, they'll already be conditioned that they can't go there?
So during the 2 weeks to flatten, I think it was one of the lockdowns. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. During that time, they put up a 5G tower by my old office during the lockdown or whatever. And I remember driving to work when things were opening up, and I was like, did they just do that? And then I had somebody that I know received during the time, who worked for a tech company, to put up 5G towers. They had a government grant.
Like a contract?
A contract, thank you.
Okay.
To get 5G towers up really fucking fast during COVID. It was an expedited contract. So interesting that 5G tower went up lickety split while nobody's out driving.
So true.
Okay.
Because we went downtown not long after and we were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Where the fuck did this come from?
So what will happen then if we're not allowed to go into the woods, but they're opening up?
Well, that's just it, right? We're not allowed to go into the woods, but they can.
But they can. So what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What are they, I mean, other than, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, which I clearly am, but if it's not just about mining, what else is it? I mean, you want to know what someone said? Is that they banned us from the woods because they don't want us to see their people starting fires. And I mean, given the fact that you have
create a problem,
but given the fact that you've got this guy in Manitoba that's supposed to be basically a fucking forest firefighter that's starting fires, isn't that just kind of the proof of the pudding? That they don't want us in the forest while they're setting these fires. That could be a very real possibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen lots of video footage of forest fires being created over the past few years now.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, anything's possible. The one demographic, though, that I think would be the most impacted or the most highly influenced with the climate push is the younger generation. Because they are being programmed at a young age through the school system.
Absolutely.
Because even our daughter was in a climate class around, there's a climate program that they're pushing through the schools, where she was taught to put cats on leashes.
Oh my God. Yeah. They don't want cats outside. You shouldn't have an outdoor cat. So all these crazy people that are like animal rights, the raw milk episode got a lot of hate, which was amazing. You fucking retards. And they boast about how I'm raping my cow and how it's forced impregnation and how dare I drink their milk. And yet it's so interesting to me that they want to take wildlife. Like, I get that they're domesticated animals, but they're still animals and they're still wild. And they want to be outside and they want to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And they're telling
primal nature.
And they're telling those kids, no, lock them inside. Lock them in your apartment. Lock them in cages. Don't let them be.
Because they hunt birds?
Yes, but they hunt moles and rats and mice. And that's the cycle of life, is you have predators and prey. And everything has a predator and everything has a prey.
And every animal has a purpose.
And it's balanced.
And they're meant to live that purpose.
Absolutely. And we need that balance in nature. We need cats to kill mice. And we need mice to survive so that they can eat little fucking other things. We need all of it to happen. You can't cancel one out and expect that there's going to be balance. There's just not.
I think the more that we try to force our will on nature, like the more human interference with nature, the more problems we have.
Absolutely.
We've seen that with different situations around the world, but the cane toads in Australia was a great example of that, where they brought in the cane toad into the region to eat I think it was crickets, because there was a cricket, there was too many crickets. So they brought in this cane toad, which was not native to the land. But there was no prey for the cane toads. So they overpopulated and took over the region.
Do you know how I know about that?
How?
From The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was also an episode of The Simpsons, speaking of that, which, if you remember, Bart went over to Nelson's and he had a BB gun. And Marge told Bart, you can't go there and you can't shoot that gun. He goes, he shoots the gun. He purposely aims away from the bird because he doesn't want to hit it, but the sight's off. And he hits it bang on and kills the bird. And there's babies in the nest. So Bart takes the babies home, but the babies turn out to be lizards. Somehow they're lizards. So now he's got these lizards. And Principal Skinner comes across the lizards and says, we have to kill these because they're an invasive species. Okay? And then Bart's like, don't kill my lizards. And then, anyway, the lizards get out. The lizards reproduce and wreak havoc on Springfield. And then what did they bring in? Don't you remember? Then he goes, well, we'll just get... And they brought in something. I can't remember.
Snakes?
I don't remember. No. They brought in something to eat the lizards. And then someone said, well, what happens when the snakes get out of hand? Well, we'll just bring in this. And then they're bringing in something else. Like, it's just...
Human interference.
Human interference wins every time. But last question. Do the natives have clean drinking water yet? Like...
Priorities.
Do they have clean,
This is our government's priorities. Yeah. Ban mobility instead.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when it happens here?
What are we going to do when it happens here? Yeah. I will absolutely never comply. They'll have to come and shoot me. And literally, our daughter had a dream when we first got the cows, that was a really fucking weird dream for a kid to have. She had a dream that these men in black came, black suits, and they came and said, sorry, this is our land now, and we have to take the cows. That's what happened. This is a couple years ago now, but that's a dream that she had. And I'll go down. I'll go down fucking fighting. I've got guns. I'm stocking up on ammunition. There's no fucking way that I'm going to be told what I can and can't do on my own land. Now, if before that happens, I have an opportunity to sell and move, I will 100% be doing that. Like if the timing works out and, there's a possibility we would love to go to Alberta. I would love to go to South America. But if I'm living here and restrictions come, you mark my fucking words, I will not comply. Absolutely will not comply. And if my neighbors feel the need to snitch, I'll fucking, I will slit their tires. I will
fight fire with more fire.
100 fucking percent. I'll go ape shit. I will go.
Oh no.
Ape shit. You better hope it doesn't happen because I'm ready for fucking war. I've got all the clothes. I've got all the guns.
While
I
she's
am ready.
preparing for physical
ready.
war, I've been preparing for the mental,
I am
spiritual war.
Well, it's good because you have to have a balance. If both of us
Yeah.
were just like, then you know what? We're fucked, okay? We're fucked. And if both of us just have, then we're also probably fucked. There
Yes.
has to be a balance.
Yes.
So we have a good
Yes.
balance.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know,
I think it's good that we are aware of all these things. Same with like the COVID stuff, right? We have to be aware. We can't just have our head in the sand.
no, and I don't want like people to say, "Oh, you're sparking fear," and like the way that you talk is scary. Yeah, fair enough, but
Well, that agenda is scary.
well, but fair
Right, like
enough.
that,
I mean,
yeah.
I get that, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
hi, they just locked down Nova Scotia from going fucking hiking.
Yeah, red
Like-
flag,
like,
big red flag.
This is the time to start rebelling. This is the time, guys. Because
Otherwise, we're allowing.
yes,
we're allowing it.
They're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and if you can't see by now that it's coming, you are retarded. Plain and simple. If you think what I'm saying is crazy, guess what? You're a retard. Thanks for listening. No, but but you are.
Subscribe and like.
Like and subscribe. We value all of our listeners, except the fucking liberal ones. Get the fuck out of here now. Sydney Sweeney, we love the ad. We love that, you know, it's back. We love that. We love it. I love this time. It does seem like people are waking up, and it does seem like people are not going to allow. People aren't going to allow the behavior, I hope, but we'll have to see.
I think
have to see.
the first thing. Are we wrapping up? Oh, okay. I think the first thing that what's good about this situation with Halifax is that people are bringing this to the forefront, and we're having the discussion a lot faster, and people are questioning things because that's a huge issue, and so people are talking about it more. It's being discussed, right? So it's in people's periphery.
Right.
I just want to touch on, instead of the stressful, fearful parts of this, can we just
I'm getting BO.
because Jess, it's no different than like the COVID fear and the stress. We got to get out of the city. We can't. Right?
It's just bringing it back for me.
Well, that's a good point because it's triggering.
Yeah,
it's triggering.
Yeah, I'm very triggered by it.
So that just shows like the trauma that we experienced from COVID.
Yeah.
And so we can again use this as an opportunity to heal ourselves by not getting swept up in the fear, by not getting swept up in trying to fight back. Well, I think what we did with COVID is
We fought back.
We fought back.
I fought back.
We did, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that because we have to also stand our ground.
But I agree with what you're saying, not getting swept up in it, not allowing it to take over and be sick.
Not letting our fear guide our decision making. Because I don't want, that's the one thing I said, like when we were living in London before we bought the farm, we are not making decisions from fear.
No. But I will make a decision based on rational thinking. So if,
and common sense.
If Canada in the next 4 to 5 years, if it escalates to where I have been telling everybody it's going, there will be an exit strategy. I won't be a Jew in the Holocaust.
I think that's
I won't
smart.
be.
Yeah.
There has to be people like a psychic told me that I was Joan of Arc's partner in crime, and she stayed to fight, and I was like, fuck this. I'm out. Like, I'm telling you, we got to go. You're not listening to me? We got to go. And I left. And guess what? She fucking died. So I whether or not, I don't even know if I believe in past lives. I don't know what I believe, but I know that I have this feeling. And I've had it for many, many, many years that we need to go. And so
I think we've been preparing for like everything that we've done, like whether it was 5-6 years ago when we were living in the city, we've been preparing, and that's all that we can do is we're preparing for the next phase, the next chapter of our life, wherever that wherever we're guided with that. Instead of just sitting and stressing, we're always doing stuff, right? So we're preparing by building skills, learning how to work the land, right? Building networking, connecting with a new community of like-minded souls. We're learning all kinds of different skills and so that we have a lot of skills to be able to survive, right? And thrive. So we can continue preparing, because I feel like us being here on this land is all, that's what this is for. It's preparing for all kinds of things. Yeah. And it's wonderful. Yeah. It's great. And we're sharing that. Yeah. Like that's why we're doing this podcast, is because we're sharing from our own passion and from our own beliefs. We're sharing that with you listeners, because it's important for us to share what we have to say and what we've been learning. Yeah. Because we want all of us to do well together, right? If we're all thriving, we're united.
But if we all have to leave and escape to Alberta or South America, it is what it is, and we're going to go.
I mean, I remember us talking about leaving, and there's lots of people who left Canada during COVID. The whole agenda, if we look at it from the bigger picture, it's worldwide.
Yeah, it is worldwide, but there are places where governments just don't have the stronghold. And but I hear what you're saying. In 20 years, say Nicaragua may have the government control that they don't have right now. They may be able to create that, and that might be very well true. But I just feel like I'll just keep jumping from place to place until I can finally get to Antarctica and see what Admiral Byrd found in that tropical paradise. Yeah. What's beyond the ice wall?
I mean, I see a different future. Over the past little while, I'm starting to build, and maybe I'm tapping into the collective consciousness in a different frequency, because I'm starting to see visions of the future in a different way. Not from the fear, control, danger, anger, division. I'm not seeing it from that lens anymore. I'm seeing... I know you are. I see a different future of how people are... Everybody that I know, especially because I have such a vast array of different clients and from kind of all over, they are all turning to medicinal medicines. They're wanting to work with building their own gardens. There's a drive to work from the land and connect more into nature. There's more that are wanting to work in holistic medicines. There's a whole building of working in frequency, sound healing.
It's odd to me why they're banning all that.
So we're creating a whole other shift in health and wellness and community, and this is where everybody's starting to build a whole other system of living, that we've been vacating these broken systems, and we're creating a brand new one, or going back to some of our roots, I would say. So I'm seeing more of that, and that's where I've been focusing more of my attention. And because I can see a lot of good coming from that, a lot of people wanting to work with herbal medicines, homeopathics, even new careers are showing up around like death doula work, and people going down that route of helping those with that rite of passage through death. So I just see a complete other shift happening while this old one's dissolving. And part of that dissolving is the government and the push. And I think the people that are still getting swindled are just so very programmed, and not everybody's going to wake up, and not everybody is designed to. And so we also have to accept
because,
that.
You know what? Again, I hate to be rude, but those that are not waking up will be dead, because they'll die from their vaccines. They'll die from their vegan diets of fake meat and highly processed, highly toxic, chemically sprayed food. And they won't, that's the point. Those are the people that that's the whole point of why they're not poisoning us for no reason at all. It's all to eliminate. They have to keep humanity in balance of, is it under 500 million?
Yeah.
I believe that's the number. So, I mean, that's why the people like us who are actively aware are not, not to say that we can't die of disease or something, but we're less likely than all of these big fatties are, or the little skinny vegans. Like they're both on the cusp of wiping themselves out.
So the best way to fight back, the best way to rebel is, again, through our health,
Yeah.
right? The healthier
Hiking,
you are.
getting out into the woods.
Yeah.
It's a great way. Get out in those woods and hike. That's a great way to.
Yeah, but you can't be controlled. You're less likely to be controlled if you're healthy physically, if you're healthy mentally, healthy emotionally and spiritually.
It's true.
So that's where I channel my energy back is I have like I'm high maintenance in my health.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should be.
Yeah.
Because we're stronger if we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that was great.
That was a good way to end it.
Yeah. Yeah.
See you in the woods.
I'd love it if you could like. I'd love it if you could share. I'd love it if you could subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you again for listening. And we'll see you next time.